This past week of trying to lose 100 pounds and get a $100,000 payout from trading, I've ran into some serious issues, and we'll get into that, but for now, let's get my day started. Alright guys, now that that stuff is out of the way, let's talk about what I learned this week. This week I did a lot of reflecting on what the motivation is behind me doing this and what's driving me to actually try to accomplish these goals that most people would consider out of reach. Throughout this week I've been reading this book, The Art of Impossible, where the author Stephen Kotler breaks down how people who have achieved very extreme goals use motivation to their advantage in a way that most people wouldn't expect. One big thing I learned through trading is that if your motivation is only based on external rewards, like cars, money, and all this stuff, which you would think is the only motivation for trading, you're probably not going to become profitable long term. The reasoning behind that is that motivation for goals that are quite extreme need something deeper as a motivational factor than something as minute as a car. I think a big reason I've been able to keep trying with trading and stay consistent and disciplined for over a half a year now and not give up is that I've come to mold my perception of my motivation behind it to be more based on self-mastery. I just love getting better and improving myself week by week. And coming from a very dark place of a mental illness like schizophrenia, which by the way, I haven't mentioned, but for 8 years I was in and out of the psych ward in a very dark place. Coming from a place like that and basically just regressing for so long, I've really instilled the value of progression instead of regression. And I honestly have a deep fear of staying in the same place and being stagnant, because I know it's not even possible. If you're stagnant and not doing anything, you're really regressing and you're just going to go further and further backwards. You're going to take more and more steps backwards. And that leads me to a big realization I had this week and a learning experience. I realized that trading is very similar to weight loss and life in general in a way that's probably going to shock you. Trading is a long-term game, and the whole idea behind being profitable is that you stack the probabilities in your favor, and over time you take more high probability setups than low probability. And over the course of 1,000 trades, you win more than you lose, and you're profitable. You can relate that to life or weight loss in the sense that we're always making decisions that are either bringing us a step forward or a step backwards. If you zoom out and you think about the long-term picture, the bigger picture of life, the biggest thing we need to do is just take more steps forward than backwards. Then we will have had a progressive life instead of a regressive. So yeah, to boil it all down, the biggest thing I learned this week is that I don't need to do everything exactly perfect. I just really need to get more steps forward than backwards. Ideally, a lot of steps more forward than backwards. Now, why don't we dive into the trades I took this week? As you can see, I didn't have the best week statistically. 3 of the trades I took were break-even trades. They just simply didn't have enough juice to go far enough for me to be comfortable taking profit, considering the amount I risked for the trade. But they went far enough to where I made the decision that if it would come back down to my entry, I'd rather get out there than let the trade continue to play out. The 4 losses I took, out of those, 3 of them I'm happy with. I believe that if I took those exact trades 1,000 times, then they would win more than they lose, and that's all you can ask for. One of them was just absolutely stupid. You can see that it was on the same day that I took 2 break-even trades, And I believe that the 2 break-even trades in a row clearly played a role in me taking this loss, basically out of boredom and outside of my parameters. Then to close off the week on Thursday, I got a nice win, and that was actually the only trade that I took on my funded account. So I'm very happy that I didn't, on the account that matters to me the most, I ended the week green on, which is great. So as you can see in my trading, there were some issues I faced this week, mostly with statistics just not playing out in my favor over the short amount of duration that we tracked. Just 1 week is not a big deal. Okay, so now let's get into my weight loss. This week, when it comes to my diet, I believe I took more steps forward than I took backwards. And I say that because I did face some issues sticking to it. There was 2 or 3 times where I ate outside of accordance with my diet, and it was pretty bad. But considering that I binge ate outside of my diet, I did take the rest of the day to kind of limit my calories a little bit more, and I think I managed to nerf the damage a little bit. And if anything, I probably ate at my maintenance or just above my maintenance for those days that I ate off my diet, which I think is why for this week, remember last week I said I was 235 going into the week, and now this week in the second episode, I weighed in at 231.5. Woo! Clap it up, and let's see what we are next week. That's all I'd like to talk about for this week, and I really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you guys are inspired by this journey and want to start your own improvement journey or pick some goals for yourself and chase them with me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys next week.